I once saw a strange creature carry someone inside here. It had a tiger face, full of hatred.
A distressed female voice faintly calls from deep within, her words lost in the cavernous depths.
And this is another place where traps can be anywhere. They can be in here, they can be in the doorways. You don't see it as much as you used to. As you see, there's like all over the place. As you notice, you can open chests and pull levers and turn around and look. What you cannot do that with is if you're disarming traps. You have to be facing the trap box, so don't try that. Otherwise you'll get an error message, which can be very unfortunate if you can disarm the trap. Awfully decent of them. And I believe because they are evil outsiders, all of those Geroliths are in fact immune to poison. You'd be surprised at things that aren't immune to poison. For example, zombies are not immune to poison. Neither are specters. Neither are wraiths. Neither are mummies. And the floor falls out. So, gotta be careful.
The cries for help are closer.
But all the evil outsiders, all demons and devils, as far as I am aware,
are now
immune
clearly
to poison.
audible.
So, you always have to start off with a poison spell, or else you're going to have a bad time. Also, I should point out, we're not going to use it just a quick in case we're kind of staring at it and wondering if I'd ever talk about it. This is the Astral Projector. And this actually does come out of the Night Rose as well. It's very good. There's two of them. There's this one, which is the heroic one, and then there is a level 21 version as well. And I use this, again, it's a very good item. You could use this all the time. Disrupting weapons and ghostly at level 7 is amazing. So you could use this all the time if you wanted Radiance. I don't know who that's helping, unless it's somehow affecting the damage of the evil shot. I don't know. But I use it basically because it has Ghostly, which is a very, very handy thing. I've been leaving it on simply because I run into so many stupid Reapers. I don't really have Ghost Touch somewhere else on this build. So that's it. Convenience, if anything else. Again, there's probably super exciting, better ways that other people know that I do not to get Ghost Touch on these weapons, but I am, for now, this is how I am doing it. Your mileage, of course, may always vary. Now, there are traps down here. And the floor falls out. So normally what happens is that your brave soldier comes down to disarm the traps. You can do that even without evasion. I have evasion because I forever am forgetting exactly where it is. And I went out the wrong way again. It's amazing. So even after more than a decade, you can still completely get lost and turned around. Let's see, these guys are gonna stand on the backside. I guess there's sportsmanship. There's too many breakables, so cacophonic Burge. This little wand actually comes out of the red fens, and if I'm not mistaken, it comes out of the Claw of Valcour somewhere. Perhaps the option chest for defeating the giant. Again, I sort of quest nobody really runs anymore, although since they did the item revamp, which happened in update 50, which was a godsend for so many of us, if for no other reason. Updating the system saved 140 slots, which is a big deal. And so basically, for those of you who don't know what happened was that the system for crafting epic items. So you get an item out of particular quest chains, and then you would have to run those same quests on epic levels, and you would get a shard and a seal and a scroll. I don't have any because I cached them all in, so I can't show them to you. But once you had all of those, the shard and seal and scroll, and the item, and they all had to be the same. So if you had a Sword of Shadows, you had to have a seal of the Sword of Shadows, and then a shard of the Sword of Shadows, and then a scroll of the Sword of Shadows. And if you had all of those things, then you would go to the altered epic rituals in the 12, and you put them all in, and it would give you an epic version of that weapon or item.
Anybody, please save me!
It was a nightmare, and some of the items were possibly rare. The Sword of Shadows that I just mentioned was infamously, like truly Zodiac Spear treacherous. It had, I believe, a 1 in 10,000 drop rate for the shard. That only dropped already. In 10 years, we have 2 tunes with a Sword of Shadows. Sully is one of them. And I saw 1 shard. Exactly 1, and I won it on a roll. So it was, and I literally had the people who lost that roll sending me hate in my inbox because I didn't need it or whatever. It was like, it made people angry. It was so rare. So when it came up and you lost a roll on it, you got really bitter about it. Because first off, most people would never put it up for roll, and if they did put it up for roll, if you lost on it, you'd be furious because you could literally go years and never see it again. Because you could only upgrade every 3 days, and as you're spending your entire salary to buy raid bypass timers, raid timer bypass, you would. It'd be months and months and months of running the same raid over and over and over and over again, while you're at level cap, not progressing your character. So it was a very frustrating process. But now, they replaced it with a much more elegant system where you can just get the universal upgrade item that drops in every quest chain, and they are much faster. So now I believe the item is vault keys for the Sword of Shadows. Vault keys, so you can run any of the Vault of Night quests and will drop or have a chance to drop the vault keys, and of course you get all kinds of them that drop in
mounted
the
above this
itself.
lever.
So if you just manage to get the items
Set into the floor
a
beyond
couple
the
of
gate.
runs tops, and you should be able to upgrade it, which is a much simpler and better system. And in addition, it reduced all the required ingredients by 1/3. So instead of needing a shard, a seal, and a scroll, now you just need whatever the upgrade item is. And now a lot of people who never ever saw a Sword of Shadows will now finally be able to upgrade it if they've been holding on to it forever. Because the Sword of Shadows was such an amazing item that it actually never got updated. It was so strong. It was the best weapon in the game by a country mile, and it's still competitive even now.
The last rush
So
shuffle.
it never ever got updated. It is in fact one of the
Desperation
reasons
in the
why
voice continues to
developers went
grow.
away from
Time is clearly running
modified
out. The
critical
large
profile
rune
weapons. It used to be
glows
there was all
as
kinds
the
of
gates
different
to
weapons
the
in the
room
game that
open.
had modified critical multipliers or threat ranges, whatever, including my beloved Ratcatcher. And the Sword of Shadows was another one. And they got away from it because they were so much better than everything else. There was basically no point in getting anything else. And that really hamstrings your ability to create, you know. And I understand that. Like, a lot of people really complained. Obviously, it's a nerf to, you know, your personal character's power. But I can understand why, as a developer, you would want to do that. Because otherwise, it just becomes this race to the bottom of continuing
Screams resonate with the locked
to make
door to the
any
south.
weapon worth picking up. You now have to make it have a better, stronger profile than the one you gave out before, and so you start doing it. And again, there's a lot of
Horrific echoes of Interrogator and several of his implements are clearly missing.
statistical improvements they were giving on items for improving your stats, so they, you know, your intelligence, constitution, what have you. They were much, much higher. They were like plus 17 and plus 20 in some cases. It was just out of control. And so finally they're like, no, we got to get this like reined in, especially because they're planning on doing another level cap expansion. So a lot of people complain about that, but I was okay with it. It was one of the few times when they've done an active nerf, and I was like, yeah, no, that's the way to go.
Ursula
To be
Tador,
perfectly fair,
captain, calls out
most
to
of the
the
times,
gate.
like, how would I fix this particular issue or problem? And like 9 out of 10 times, developers will basically do exactly the same thing I came up with, so I can't really complain about that, because ultimately you're going to have to bite the bullet at some point. You're going to have to say, no, we need to do this because it got out of control. And in their defense, they did do that. They're like, no, it got out of control. We need to get this rein back in, or we're not going to be able to create valuable content for you going forward. And they did. So kudos to them for at least having the guts to like walk out over the wet paint when they painted themselves in a corner. All right. And I talked over all the narration. So basically, Ursula is the girl we've been hearing calling out, except that this is not a girl. Spoiler alert. So I am going to open the box, fire up my boosts.
A cloud of smoke is rolling. Out steps Sulykka, the insidious.
And because we are on stream chat, I am going to show you a secret. These quests are pretty old, so a lot of times, a lot of the finer points get lost. So what you might not know is that if you go back over here to where we came across these drawbridges, you're like, oh, there's a bunch of water down there, and you don't really think much about it. You're just like, oh, I've got to get over the water. But what you might not see is if you go down, there's a whole area under here. You swim around. Wait, what's this? There's a secret trap here. And you go down. There's a lever down here, and you pull that. And if you swim around, you'll notice that there's a pathway over here. Now, if you don't pull the lever, there's a gate. Oh, hey, this leads somewhere. Now, this is just a place to catch your breath. Can't really climb out here, so okay, I guess I'm gonna swim over here. Now there's a ladder over there, but we're not gonna go over there because that seems dubious to me. We're gonna come over here and look. There's a dude. What are you gonna do over here? Alright, that's different. Open the door. There's guys over there. Oh, look at that. And this gives you another chest. Which is frustratingly locked. Fortunately, I can pick locks and get a bunch of garbage loot I don't need. But that is a hidden thing, and he is Palasa that we just killed is a rare for your monster manual. And then that opens that up, and if I walk into the circle, takes me back to the drawbridges were. And so there you have it, chat. We are all done with the Gianthold Walkups. So, what's going to happen is I am going to recall out of here. I am going to bid you adieu for right now. I am going to go and take my level and find if there's anything
I
that actually
once
levels me
saw
here that I can
a strange creature carry someone
And then,
inside here.
later on this evening,
It had
unfortunately,
a
I'm
tiger
going to come
face,
back online.
full of hatred.